Here I am at the Federal Office of Immigration in Bern. My name is Emmanuel Magbamdele, reporting for the African Mirror TV. As you all know, the issue of Bremgarten is nothing new again in the media. But we are glad today, here we are, to hear the opinion of the Federal Office of Immigration. There's a proverb in my language that says that Eni tó bá gbọ́ ẹjọ́ ẹnìkan dájọ́ àgbà òṣìkà ni. He will listen to one side of a story is not a good elderly man. We have heard from the community, we have heard from the Gemeinde, we have heard from the people themselves living in the Gemeinde, and also from the African community. And today, we are at the Federal Office of Immigration to hear from their own mouth as well. Then it's up to you to make your decision. I'm your host, Emmanuel Magbamdele. Come with me, don't go away.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Jürg Walpen. I work for the Federal Office for Migration in the Communications Department.
Recently, the Parliament just approved the higher power to the Federal Office of Migration over cantons. Do you have any limitation on what to do on the asylum seekers, like which time they have to go out, when they have to come out? Can you decide this for the canton?
Now, well, what has changed is there has to be an adaptation to the existing law. And that's due because of this Arab Spring. Switzerland was facing a lot of new demands from asylum seekers. And the law has been adapted in order that the federal authorities can now constrain a municipal to open up a new center. And that's the change that has been made.
They say in Bremgarten now, to be precise, they said that asylum seekers are not allowed to use public facilities like swimming pools, libraries. How true is this?
Well, that was a misunderstanding in the first place, because of course asylum seekers are allowed to visit public places such as libraries, churches. They can go take a swim at the local swimming area. It's just certain rules that have to be followed that apply to asylum seekers, but they also apply to the Swiss population.
If you look at, do you think the asylum seekers are threats to the society?
No, not at all. I mean, Switzerland has always been a very open country, especially to foreigners. We have around 23% of foreigners that live in Switzerland, so we do not look upon them as a threat at all.
The Minister of Justice, Samuel, she said that asylum seekers have 100% free movement to move around. But if you look at the timetable of Bremgarten Center, they are only allowed from 9 a.m. in the morning till 5 p.m. in the evening. And sometimes they cannot even go out in the weekends and they have to apply to go out weekends. Do you think this is a free movement?
Well, the free movement, it starts from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And afterwards dinner is being served, and the peace at night starts from 10 p.m. up to 6 a.m. in the morning. Now, I understand at the first sight this might sound rather irritating and contradictory, because you will think that the free movement is a 24-hour free movement. But you have to understand that in order to run a big governmental center, the demands for it are very high, the organizational demands. And in order to make all that work, there have to be some rules and regulations that are implied.
But if you look at what are the major reasons for putting this street movement on there? Is it because to run the center, or because they are not supposed to go out?
No, it is in order to run the center in a good manner.
Okay, you will open more centers. Are they now going to be of the same standard? Or some centers we have 24 hours free movement, and some we have 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or your new rules now is that all centers has to operate on this level?
Well, all the governmental centers, those rules apply to all governmental centers.
Okay. One of the beauties of Switzerland is that things could still be changed. Is there any possibility to have this law been amended that the asylum seekers can have 24 hours movement, or the decision is now fixed that from now on it has to be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.?
Well, at the moment it's not a realistic option, but in the near future in Switzerland every law can be adapted or changed, so it could be a scenario for the future, but not at the moment.
Okay. So is there any plan to integrate the newly arriving asylum seekers into the society? Like, I mean, basic information. What are the educational facilities you have for the asylum seekers?
Well, our integration process starts right after the asylum decision has been handed down, and that's where the integration process starts.
My last question is, there's a misconception in the media. You now see Switzerland as a discrimination country, as a racist country. Do you think this is correct?
No, not at all. I mean, Switzerland's, like I said before, it's always been an open country. It has a big humanitarian tradition. 23% of our population are foreigners, and our daily lives work well with the foreign people, with the foreign persons, and there are no big problems. I think it's really a misconception, and Switzerland's being portrayed in a false manner.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
It
was an honor.
Thank you.